Hello, friends. Welcome to a new episode of our Book in 10 Minutes series, where we take powerful books, distill their wisdom, and bring them to you in a calm, clear storytelling experience. Today's book is one that quietly reshapes the way we think about thinking itself. Rolf Dobelli's The Art of Thinking Clearly isn't a book of theories. It's a book of mental mirrors, reflections that help us see our blind spots, our cognitive biases, and the hidden patterns that lead us to make mistakes without even realizing it. So settle in. Let's explore the fascinating world of the human mind and the traps we fall into every day. Rolf Dobelli begins The Art of Thinking Clearly with a simple but unsettling truth. The human mind did not evolve for modern life. It evolved for survival, quick judgments, emotional reactions, and mental shortcuts. These shortcuts helped our ancestors stay alive, but today they often lead us into confusion, bad decisions, and distorted thinking. Dobelli calls these shortcuts cognitive biases, and throughout the book, he walks us through dozens of them, each one a window into how our minds deceive us. He first introduces the idea of survivorship bias, explaining how we often focus on winners and ignore the millions who failed. We read stories of successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and inventors, and assume their path is typical, forgetting the countless people who used the same strategies but disappeared from history. He illustrates this with startup founders who seem like heroes, when in reality, we are only seeing the tiny fraction who survived. This is why we overestimate the chances of success and underestimate the role of luck. From there, Dobelli explores swimmer's body illusion, the mistake of confusing selection factors with results. He explains how we admire professional swimmers for their physique, forgetting that they became swimmers because they already had the ideal body structure, not the other way around. This illusion affects how we choose careers, partners, and lifestyle goals. He then moves into the world of confirmation bias, showing how we naturally seek information that supports our existing beliefs while ignoring anything that challenges them. He gives examples of investors who cling to losing stocks, people who interpret news through political filters, and individuals who surround themselves only with voices that echo their own. This creates intellectual bubbles that feel comfortable but distort reality. Next comes authority bias, a trap where we blindly trust experts, titles, uniforms, and confident voices. Dobelli explains how people follow doctors' mistakes, obey flawed instructions, or accept opinions simply because they come from someone superior. He illustrates how this bias can lead to disastrous decisions, especially in medicine, finance, and leadership. In a similar vein, Dobelli presents social proof, the instinct to follow the crowd. Whether in financial markets, product reviews, or social behavior, people assume that if many are doing something, it must be right. He uses the example of panic buying, bubbles in the economy, and viral trends that spread not because they are good, but because they are visible. The human mind is deeply uncomfortable with standing alone. The book continues with sunk cost fallacy, the emotional trap that keeps us investing time, money, or energy into something only because we've invested in it before. Dobelli describes people staying in bad relationships, holding on to losing investments, or refusing to quit failing projects. The mind confuses past cost with future value, a mistake that keeps us stuck. He moves on to availability bias, explaining how we judge risk and probability based on what easily comes to mind. News stories about plane crashes make us fear flying, even though it's far safer than driving. Dramatic events get more attention, even if they are statistically rare. Our brains are storytellers, not statisticians. Dobelli also examines hindsight bias, the illusion that events were predictable after they occur. People look back and say, "I knew this would happen," even when they didn't. This illusion prevents real learning and feeds overconfidence. Speaking of overconfidence, he dedicates an entire section to overconfidence effect, describing how people consistently believe they are smarter, more skilled, or more accurate than they really are. Investors think they can beat the market, drivers think they're above average, and decision-makers trust their predictions far too much. Overconfidence is one of the strongest and most dangerous human biases. Another powerful concept is outcome bias, which focuses on results rather than the quality of the decision. Dobelli explains how a good decision can lead to a bad outcome, and a bad decision can sometimes lead to a good one. Judging decisions only by results leads us to learn the wrong lessons and repeat mistakes. He introduces confirmation error in medicine, clustering illusion, halo effect, and horn effect, each showing how our minds create patterns where none exist, or judge people based on single traits. The halo effect makes us believe attractive people are more intelligent or trustworthy. The horn effect does the opposite, coloring our entire perception negatively. One of the most relatable biases is the contrast effect. Dobelli explains how we judge things not on their absolute value, but relative to what we just saw. That's why products look cheap or expensive based on what came before, and why our evaluation of people and situations changes depending on context, not reality. He also explores action bias, showing how people feel compelled to act even when doing nothing is smarter, like investors who keep trading, or goalkeepers who jump even though the ball often goes down the middle. The urge to just do something can cause more harm than good. Dobelli touches on reciprocity, the instinct to return favors even when we don't intend to. Marketers exploit this by offering samples, knowing that people will feel obligated to buy. Then comes regression to the mean, a concept many fail to understand. Extreme events are usually followed by more normal ones. A student who scores unusually high will likely score lower next time, not because they worsened, but because exceptional results are rare. The same applies to athletes, markets, and nature. Dobelli continues with biases such as base rate neglect, where people ignore general probabilities and focus only on specific details, and storytelling fallacy, which explains our desire to create simple narratives around complex events. Throughout the book, Dobelli warns against emotional reasoning, planning fallacy, self-serving bias, volatility neglect, and groupthink, all traps that push us toward poor judgment. What makes his approach unique is the storytelling style. Each bias comes with a vivid example: a gambler misreading patterns, a manager misjudging performance, a leader falling into group pressure, or an investor drawn into a bubble. Dobelli's point is clear. Knowing these biases doesn't make you perfect, but it helps you slow down and think clearly when it matters most. Thinking clearly is not about being a genius, but about avoiding the most common mental traps that pull us away from truth. And that brings us, friends, to the end of today's episode. The art of thinking clearly reminds us that the mind is full of shortcuts, some helpful, many harmful, and that clear thinking begins the moment we start questioning our own instincts. Now tell me, which book would you like to hear next in our Book in 10 Minutes series? Your suggestions shape the coming episodes.